Fred, the relationship, the girl with Fred, I had my own Fred that I would use kind of like my treehouse. Like it was this guy on Facebook, and I would just use him as like a visualization tool of like my ideal relationship. And then a couple months ago, it became reality, where like I'm sitting there on a date with this person, and I'm kind of confused by the manifestation because I thought I was on a lower disc. And there's this person now sitting across from me where after like 4 years of, thinking about this person, we're on a date. So I'm in like a state of unconditional love as I'm sitting across from this person. And we only went on 2 dates and we were talking all the time. Right now we're not talking. And I saw him like post something on Facebook. He's very depressed. So I don't know what to do. Like I understand about things not being a match, and I know his mother passed. I almost want to ask you if you have a message from his mother for him. I guess I saw that manifestation as like me finally being in alignment, and now that it didn't work out, I'm kind of like confused by it.
Well, here's the thing. If you realize that a lot of creation is about sifting through variety, sifting through contrast, data collection, getting clear about what you want. And if you realize that the clarity as it comes, feel the satisfaction of a breakthrough into more clarity. Instead of trying to run all the way down the road and figure it all out and find the once and forever final thing that you're looking for, why not enjoy the clarity as it breaks through within you? And so, yes, there are certain aspects to this person that really ring your bells, but there are a lot of aspects in a lot of people that ring your bells. And if you could just enjoy the bell ringing for a while and not feel like you have to find that person that is the answer to all of that, then before you know it, you'll turn around one day and not so far away, and there'll be someone standing there that embodies everything that you want, but more important, wants you too. You see? Mm-hmm. And so here's a really good way of looking at this. If you find yourself loving someone or in love with someone or wanting someone, or we'll say someone rather than something, it's easier to understand it with a person, but we mean it with a thing too. We'll come back around and explain that. If you are in love with someone and they are not loving you back, it's because there's something missing in what you are projecting.
Can you explain that more?
What we mean is, if you will just practice loving and pay no attention to who's responding, who's loving you back, the loving back will come in such full fashion, because it's the looking for something that you can't find that's causing you to introduce the resistance into your vibration, which is causing the wobble, which is causing you to attract people who aren't ready for what you're ready for. It doesn't mean that they won't ever be, but it just means right now at this rendezvous point, you're down the road further than they are, and so it's a mismatch for now. And life is about matching now. The subject of relationships gets you all sort of out of kilter, because if you could leave that subject aside just for sake of this conversation and feel with us what we mean so completely, that where you stand vibrationally in any moment in time, there's a perfect match in the vicinity to you, to the thought, to the idea, to the impulse. It's sort of like being at a fast food court where every craving could be rather easily satisfied within a few feet, because there's every kind of cuisine around you. And so whatever you feel like, you could easily satisfy. Well, in reality, every moment in time is like that. Everything that you care about is surrounding you with such intensity that you have the ability to satisfy everything that you want instantaneously. We talked about 16, 17 seconds. Is it going to turn to 16? But your ability to realize that needs practice. And so the fastest way to practice yourself into a position to get what you want to come to you is just by appreciating it wherever it is, and leave out that it's not coming to me part. Because when you include the I want this, but it's not coming to me, even if you don't use the words, then that's the way you present yourself to everything. And so everything that you're asking for is responding to you and not coming to you. And it's not coming to you, it's responding to you too. You see what we're getting at?
Is appreciating it, though, where it is, getting too specific?
Well, you'll know. You can tell by the way you feel. Be as general as you can be and still feel good, and then get more and more specific, because it's more fun to be more specific. It's way more fun to be specific and have things really coming into your experience quickly than it is to be general and have things coming more slowly. Momentum is a factor that you care about. We just want you to get the alignment before you goose it up. Have you been hearing us talking about the wobble? We've just been talking about it recently, but when you think really generally about something that you want, and then you think generally about the absence of it, you can introduce a wobble into your experience really quickly. And law of attraction is responding to the vibrations that you've got going on. So I want it, but it isn't here. I want it, but it isn't here. I want it, but it isn't here. And as momentum is gathering on both of those subjects, because you're thinking about wanting it often, but you're also thinking about not having it often, now you've got more momentum on both sides of that equation, and you've got a big wobble in your experience. And then the world responds to your wobble. The world is responding to what you've got going on vibrationally. So that's why we always encourage you, if you're learning about vibration, to start with things that are easier until you can show yourself that on those subjects that you don't have resistance about, the universe just comes back to you instantly. There's a quick response to the things that you are not contradicting with your own thoughts. People think that the subjects that are big, like relationships, the big things are harder to accomplish. But they're not harder. It's just that you've thought about them from different vantage points so much that you've just got a big old wobble in your vibration. So you're calling and pushing and calling and pushing so many things away simultaneously. Think about what that's like. Watch a tug of war, two strong people on either end, and there's a stalemate. Nothing moves. And that's sort of what goes on with your vibration, is you've got that contradiction going on. If you just let go of the what you don't want end of it and just emphasize the other, then it would come to you quickly and easily.
But if emphasizing the other doesn't feel good, then just get off of it.
The important thing about that is, yes, the answer to that is yes, but that's easier than said than done, because when something has momentum, it's got hold of you. When you have a thought that you've got a lot of momentum going on, and law of attraction's bringing you a lot of evidence of it, it's hard to get off of it. So we think a much easier answer is focus on the things that feel good as much as you can, and the things that don't feel good, try to find an easier, more subtle, more general approach to them. If you can think of a subject, we'll show you.
I guess we'll go with relationship.
So I'm going to start with the hard one. So the goal is to get general about a subject that you wobble easily on. So the goal is to talk about a relationship, talk about the concept of relationship without wobbling. So can you feel how when we said concept, there's less wobble in the concept of a relationship than there is in the specifics of a relationship? Relationship just means, in the way you mean it, two people being together. It could be a conversation relationship. It could be a teacher-student relationship. Relationship just means two people having a deliberate experience together. No wobble in that. No reason to protest. So wouldn't it be nice to have a relationship with another person? Wouldn't it be nice to have a relationship with another person? Wouldn't it be nice to live happily ever after with someone? Is there any wobble in that? It's pretty general, but it's more specific than it was before. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to find the perfect person? Wobble. If you haven't found the perfect person, then you just introduced wobble to it by saying, I've been looking for a long time for this perfect person. This perfect person should be out there somewhere. I've looked enough. Can you feel the wobble getting bigger? I know people who have met their perfect mate and they seem so happy. Is that making you wobble more? Probably. Because you're focused on something that they have that you want that you don't have. So already we got too specific and caused ourselves to wobble. So what makes most people want to do that is that they think that being specific is more powerful because the more specific, the faster the energy moves, the more momentum there is. But if we can convince you that momentum away in two opposite directions is not momentum, that's not momentum. And so anything that you can do to keep yourself from wobbling on the subject of relationship is helpful. Sometimes that much conversation is enough. Sometimes that much conversation is enough to cause you to see someone who has a relationship like you want and take pleasure from what you're noticing. In other words, the universe is ripe and abundant with examples to show you. And that's another thing, speaking of what you were talking about earlier, about the asking of the questions and the receiving of the answers. What's better for an answer than a demonstration from the universe?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Jerry and Esther were living many years ago in Tucson. And Esther was admiring the big saguaro cactuses. And Jerry mentioned that he knew, at least at one time, and thought it was still to be true, that you couldn't move one of those saguaro cactuses without a permit. And Esther then said, how would you move one anyway? They were immense and prickly. And she understood why someone would want to move one. She just wondered how it would be possible. Now, they'd been in that town for months, had never had that discussion before, had never been stimulated to that question before, but when they turned the next corner, there was a machine with one of those on the back of it. And it had big claws. It had clearly reached out, pulled the thing out of the ground, put it on the truck. The answer was just obvious. The words, it would have taken far more description. What they saw answered everything. It answered everything. And it had a permit on it. It had a tag with a permit on it, you see. So we like to say that words don't teach. What they do is they help you find resonance with life experiences. But words are really puny teachers. Life experience is so much more. So when you spend a little bit of time contemplating what you want to know about and holding the vibration of it with as much pleasure as you can, and then you notice how quickly the universe brings you examples of that in lots of different ways, then two things happen. You start getting a lot of the things that you want, but you also begin to own a feeling of invincibility, and even more important, a feeling of worthiness. Your point of attractionness just becomes so vivid and real to you until you reach the place that you just don't think that there's anything that you can't do if you wanted to. You reach the place where instead of wanting things and trying to figure out how to get the things that you want that you don't have, your life becomes trying to figure out what it exactly is that you do want, because you know once you identify it, it's coming. It's coming for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love you.